Mr. Malatji, if you can just step forward for us. Okay.
Mr. Malatji, just take us through what happens now following these charges that have been laid, and just take us through the charges as well, please.
Yeah. Well, the charges are crimen injuria and criminal defamation. We've also asked the SAPS to look at incitement to violence as a potential other complaint to be investigated. But essentially, if you look at a combination of a number of utterances and public statements made from in around July up to the final one last week, 20 November, it's clear that there's an unlawful and intentional act which is intended to injure Minister's dignity, and most importantly, it's invaded his privacy. So that's your crimen injuria element, and criminal defamation is the publication of material which has injured his good name. So those are the two main complaints we've laid, but in parallel we've said they should look at incitement to violence. And all the statements that were made are documented in the affidavit we've submitted.
So you will give the affidavit
Can I ask
and equality.
Sir, can you identify who you have identified in these complaints as the suspects for potential investigation?
As the two main leaders of the EFF, Mr. Malema and Mr. Shivambu, and it's based expressly on what they've said in public domain.
Mr. Malatji, I heard that from Brooklyn you'll be heading to equity court. Could you explain what will be the charge that will be laid in your next one?
Just to conclude the last question, the process here is obviously the docket must be investigated, allocated a detective to investigate it, and then the process is in the hands of the police authority. In relation to the Equality Court, our complaint is effectively that Section 10 says you may not do certain things, and if you do, and Section 10 of the Equality Act, what we've advised Minister is, in addition to this criminal complaint that he has, he's got another complaint to prosecute at the Equality Court, and that relates to effectively a contravention of Section 10, and it is that those statements were hateful, they were intended to incite hatred, and therefore constitute hate speech. And in those proceedings, we're asking the court to order for an unconditional apology, and we're also saying that they should be ordered to pay damages, because it has to be painful if you're found guilty of conduct of that type. But those damages in the amount of 150,000 will be donated to a charitable cause intended to support job creation in an unemployment of our youth.
Mr. Malatji, just to give us clarity, will you be formally serving these leaders with intent to, of course, respond or appear in court? How exactly is it going to work moving forward when you're done with the Equality Court?
Well, at the Equality Court, we now head in there to issue the complaint. The clerk of the court there will be responsible for ensuring that the complaint reaches them, and that they've got a stipulated time period within which they must respond. And then there's an allocation of a presiding officer who will then determine how the matter progresses from there on.
Last question.